Hey Colts fans, I'm JJ Stankevitz and welcome into another episode of the Colts Show, an Indianapolis Colts podcast. We are presented by our friends at Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC. Good episode coming up today. Got Mo Alie-Cox joining me on the pod. Really fun chat with Mo about his career, his growth as a run blocker, his role on this Colts team. But look, we got to start with the Colts' loss on Sunday to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Colts had a 20-9 lead going into the fourth quarter. They squander that. The Chiefs wind up winning in overtime. A lot of different places to go. A lot of different thoughts I had driving back from the airport on Sunday night about how the Colts lost that game. The first ones that kind of hit my mind were I didn't feel as bad about the play calling, about Shane Steichen's play calling, as I think a lot of folks maybe did in the moment. And I understand it. I mean, when you lose a game, in the way the Colts did, your thoughts immediately turn to, well, what could they have done better? And I totally understand why, if you're watching this, you're listening to this, you may very well have thought, well, just give the ball to Jonathan Taylor because he's the best running back in the NFL, and you've got an 11-point lead. You want to turn some clock in the fourth quarter. When I went back and I watched it on Monday, I didn't necessarily feel like the Colts needed to give the ball to Taylor more. I mean, maybe there are some situations, we'll hear from Shane Steichen later. We're taping this Monday morning. We'll hear from him later. Maybe he'll feel like there are some situations there. But those Chiefs linebackers did a really good job in this game dropping Taylor in the backfield. They were firing through. Drew Tranquil played awesome in this game. Nick Bolton had a really good game. Leo Chenal was really good. Those guys were consistently getting into the backfield. And while Taylor can occasionally make one guy miss, it's hard to make two guys miss in the backfield. Of Taylor's 7 runs on first down, he only gained 14 yards in this entire game, and he was dropped for a loss on 3 of those plays. And the first one of those, by the way, was the first down run the Colts had after Zaire Franklin forced that fumble. Mooney Ward recovers it on the 6-yard line. They hand it off to Taylor. They immediately lose 2 yards, and then Spags just heats up Daniel Jones on back-to-back plays. The Colts have to punt. The next drive the Colts had, they were running a lot. You had some play action in there, some good concepts, just wasn't executed. And then that last drive, the Colts had Daniel Jones drop back the fourth quarter, I should say. Daniel Jones had a couple of straight dropbacks, didn't complete those passes. It wasn't necessarily to me like, well, if they'd handed the ball off to Taylor, they would have won the game, because Kansas City was doing a very good job defending the run in this game, kind of like I was just thinking about. So maybe there's a chance there. I don't know. Again, interested to hear from Shane Steichen, but I think it just comes down to execution. And that's what I heard from players in the locker room after the game was the Chiefs have like Hall of Fame level players on their team. Obviously, Mahomes and Kelsey, Chris Jones, might get himself a bust in Canton one of these days. Andy Reid's a Hall of Fame coach. For my money, Andy Reid might be the best coach in NFL history. Steve Spagnuolo, one of the best defensive coordinators in NFL history. You're going up against a team that had been there and done that. I mean, they've represented the AFC in the Super Bowl in 5 of the last 6 years. The Colts have not made the playoffs since 2020 and have not won their division since 2014. So you had one team that's still kind of learning how to win in these situations versus another team that has won in these situations for years. And it did kind of show down the stretch where the Colts didn't execute and the Chiefs did. So it's less about whatever play Shane Steichen called into Daniel Jones' helmet. It was more just the Colts didn't execute. And then offensively, the Chiefs hit a couple of those big plays where all game, Trevarius Ward and Sauce Gardner had this thing on lockdown with man coverage. Patrick Mahomes struggled against man, except for the 2 plays that he hit. The 4th and 3 to Rashee Rice, where Trevarius Ward kind of falls down on that play, and Rice gets wide open. By the way, great pressure by Latu looping around on that play. Mahomes almost threw that thing over Rice's head because of the pressure by Latu. So just, again, tiny little margin there. They hit that 4th and 3 to Rice. They're able to go down, tie the game. Then in overtime, the 3rd and 7, where they get this route concept where you've got a bunch. So you've got Xavier Worthy, Tyquan Thornton, and Travis Kelce in a bunch to the right. Worthy and Thornton both run vertically, like almost right next to each other, with Sauce Gardner and Trevarius Ward in coverage. Thornton runs a corner. Worthy runs a post over the middle. Mahomes is able to hit the post. He steps up, and Nick Cross hits him as he throws. It's one of those just insane Mahomes throws that you're just like, I don't know how he did that, other than he's one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play. They hit that for a 31-yard gain, go down and win the game. Again, just those tiny margins. And, talking to Charvarius Ward after the game, he said, Kansas City made those big-time plays, and we didn't. And that was true on both sides of the ball in that game, where defense played really well for most of the game. The Colts offense in the first 3 quarters played really well. They were moving the ball. They were averaging 6 yards a play. They got down into the red zone a couple of times and didn't score in the third quarter. They didn't get touchdowns, I should say. Those came back to bite the Colts again. It's those tiny little margins. You get the option route to Josh Downs where Jones has some pressure in his face from Chris Jones. Isn't able to connect with Josh Downs on that 3rd and 4. Down in the red zone, Colts have to go and kick a short field goal. If they convert that and get a first down, maybe they go in and score a touchdown, and we're talking about a Colts win. So the thing I want to see from this Colts team going forward is, what did they learn? What did they learn from this game? Are there things that Shane Steichen's going to put on himself? Are there things that Daniel Jones is going to put on himself? Literally everyone on that team is going to take an internal look and say, okay, well, what could I have done better in this game? How could I have executed better for us to win this game? Whether it's coaching, players on the field, whatever it is, across the board. And I think we've seen that from this Colts team this year. You think about the Steelers game where you've got 6 turnovers. And, okay, what did we learn from that game? Well, the Colts went out and they learned something, and they went and they beat the Falcons the next week. The Rams game, what did we learn from that game? That loss to the Rams, they went out and they smoked the Raiders the next week. So the Colts have not lost 2 games in a row all year. They still have, let me just pull it up here. They still have one of the best point differentials in the NFL. Right now, the Colts they're plus 112 this year. In the AFC, that is easily the best. New England's plus 92. Denver's plus 65. The Texans are plus 61, which is interesting. The Jaguars are only plus 17 there. And then over in the NFC, the Rams now have the best point differential in the NFL. They are at plus 127. The Seahawks are at plus 107. So there are 3 teams right now that have a plus 100 point differential or better: the Colts, Rams, and Seahawks. The sky is not falling. The Indianapolis Colts are still a very good football team, but the upcoming stretch for the Colts is going to define their season. They're 8-3 right now. They're leading the division by a game. They still control everything. But 4 of these last 6 games are against the 2 teams that are chasing them in the division, starting this weekend with the Houston Texans coming to Lucas Oil Stadium. After that, you go to Jacksonville. Then you get your last 2 NFC West opponents on the road at Seattle, at home against San Francisco. And then you get the Jaguars at home and the Texans on the road to finish the season off. The magnitude of these next 2 games, I don't think can be understated, though. The Colts right now have a 1-game lead over the Jaguars in the division. They have a 2-game lead over the Texans. So all 3 of those teams, in theory, control their own destiny in the AFC South. The Colts are in the power position right now at 8-4. But the Jaguars are sitting here saying at 7-4, we're a game back with 2 games coming up against the Colts. We control our own destiny. The Texans are sitting there at 6-5. We just won our last 3 games with our backup quarterback in, and Davis Mills and C.J. Stroud out with a concussion. We control our own destiny in this division, because if we go and we beat the Colts twice, then we are going to lead the division if we, match the Colts in the other 4 games. So, and now the Colts, we're sitting here in Indy saying, yeah, we control our own destiny because we've got a 1-game lead with these 4 games in hand. So I pulled up The Athletic and the New York Times playoff simulator. So right now, with 6 games to go, the Colts have an 82% chance to make the playoffs. That's really high for this stage of the season. But this game over the Texans is a massive swing game. Like, we're talking about double-digit percentage points. If the Colts win, their percentage to make the playoffs goes up to 93%. If they lose, it goes down to 71%. If the Colts beat the Texans and the Jaguars in the next 2 weeks, according to the New York Times, their playoff odds will go to 98%. If they lose the next 2 games, it drops to 51%. And that's not talking about what the Texans do against the Chiefs in Week 13, or the Jags do against the Titans, the Texans play the Chiefs in Week 14, the Jags play the Titans on the road in Week 13. If you split These next two games, the Colts playoff odds will go to about anywhere from 86 to 88%. So the Colts playoff odds to make the playoffs are still good. Their underlying numbers are still good. They lost to the Chiefs on the road by 3. It is a disappointing loss, a game everyone in that locker room felt like they should have won, and I'm sure everyone watching and listening to this is still like, how do the Colts lose that game? This is a team that still has a lot of business to take care of and can take care of this business. But Zaire Franklin said it, and I thought he put it well. We got to figure out how to handle this learning curve, and it's going to be short. We got to do it now. Because, by the way, that defense you saw with Kansas City that played like that in the fourth quarter, you're going to see a better defense than the Chiefs. It's going to be different, but for my money, the Houston Texans have the best defense in the NFL coming up on Sunday. Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter are the best edge rushing tandem in the NFL, bar none. And then Houston does not have a weak link in their secondary. Derek Stingley, Kamari Lassiter, Kalen Bullock, Jalen Petrie. These guys in the back end for Houston are demons back there. And then Azeez Al-Shire at linebacker, he almost kind of makes everything go for that Texans defense. And then DeMeco Ryans, this is going to be a challenge. I am personally relieved and encouraged that the Colts get this game at home, because watching that game, the Houston game against Buffalo on Thursday night, that crowd was deafening. You could tell those Bills tackles were scared about the Hunter and Anderson. Buffalo had a 4th and 1, a big moment in the game. Deion Dawkins false starts well before the snap, because he's looking at Danielle Hunter and it's just oh no. This is going to be tough. So, good news that the Colts get this game at home. You don't have to deal with that crowd and the advantage Houston gets by forcing teams into those silent snap counts at home with their 2 edge rushers. It's still going to be a huge challenge, though. What did the Colts learn from this game? We're going to find out on Sunday at Lucas Oil Stadium, where, by the way, the Colts at Lucas Oil Stadium this year, let's just think about this. Their point totals, 33, 29, 40, 31, 38. In 5 games at Lucas Oil Stadium this year. And, 29 against the Broncos, who have maybe the second best defense in the NFL behind the Texans, that is nothing to sneeze at right there. So Colts have shown they can do it at home. Eventually, you're going to have to show you can do it on the road, but this game is a learning opportunity for this team. The learning opportunity, though, I just want to say it won't matter if the Colts don't take care of business against the Texans here. You got to learn quick, and I think this team is prepared to do that. I had a good chat with Mo, and one of the things that Mo said in our conversation is that this team's week-to-week process, day-to-day process has been good, whether it's been through some of the high highs or some of the low lows of this season. So I think this team is primed for a bounce back. They've shown they can do it before. We'll see what it looks like on Sunday against the Houston Texans. All right, let's get to my conversation with Colts tight end Mo Alie-Cox right after this here on the Colts Show. The Colts Show is presented by Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC, where every day is game day. Greatness in the NFL starts long before kickoff. It's built in the quiet hours of preparation and the discipline to turn insights into action. The Indianapolis Colts rely on Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PCs to turn preparation into performance. With real-time AI-powered insights right on the sideline, coaches and players can make smarter, faster decisions when it matters most. From the field to the front office, Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PCs are transforming how the Indianapolis Colts prepare, strategize, and win. This isn't just about football. It's about unlocking potential wherever the game is played. It is my pleasure to be welcomed here on the Colts Show by tight end Mo Alie-Cox. Mo, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
So you're doing the podcast double here, the Colts podcast double. You did Jack Doyle's podcast.
Yep.
I'm not wearing your jersey.
It's all good.
That's all Jack right there. Media star Jack Doyle.
Yep.
This season for you, with the success this team has had, what has it been like as someone who's been here for so long? You got here in 2017 on the practice squad to now kind of experience the growth of this team into what it is this season.
I think it's been tremendous. Since we've come in the spring, everyone's had a great attitude, embraced the competition. I think everyone embracing that competition brought out the best in the team, and then I think that just carried over into the season, and we just prepare as as best as we possibly can week to week and let the results take care of itself. That's what we talked about, being a process-driven team instead of being super focused on results. And I think that's translated over into the way we play and the way the coaches are coaching us and different things like that. And we're doing great.
How do you stick to that process then when there is chatter out there of, could the Colts be the 1 seed? Could you win the division for the first time in over a decade? Like, how do you just kind of block that out and then stick to that process?
Just being someone who's been in the league for a long time, you just know it's a week-to-week league. Anything could change at any given time. So I think just being a veteran, experienced veteran, you just you take it week to week. Just because I've been 5-2 here before. We finished 7-9. So like things could flip real quick and things like that. So you just have to focus on the here and now, and you echo that to the young guys. So like continue to stay on your routine and different things like that, because you just never know what can happen.
I mean, that experience, those experiences you've built up over 7-8 years here. Yep. How often have you found yourself kind of maybe dispensing those to some of those younger guys on the roster of like, hey, we were, like you mentioned 2019, obviously 2021. The way that season ended, just never taken any of those things for granted.
Always echoing that, just because some guys might get like too high. Like it was one thing Jack always told me, like this league does a great job of humbling you. You might make a great play, next play something bad might happen and things like that. So I just try to pass on that knowledge to the younger guys, just stay even keel and always ready to go. And if things do go bad, don't let it impact you negatively in a bad way. Just flush it and move on to the next thing. And I think a lot of the young guys have done a good job with that.
Do you have a favorite block you've hit this year? Like, does that exist for Mo Alie-Cox?
There's a couple. I had 2 during the Pittsburgh game. But I think my favorite one was probably when we just played Atlanta. Mm-hmm. It was in that overtime drive, and like we called this play, and like I had to get the safety essentially. And during the week, I had trouble getting the block. I'm like, Coach, he's too far over, and I'm getting clipped by Braden's block. But then in overtime, like, if you go back and look at the play, like, you see me loop all the way around Braden, and it's JT and the safety in the hole. And I like blocking with my chest because I was so late to the block, and JT hits it right off of us and gets like 8, 9, 10 yards. Uh-huh. So that's probably one of my favorite ones, just because of how difficult it was to get that block.
Okay. Because I was going to say, I watched that last drive, and on his touchdown, you kind of combo the D lineman, but then you climb up, and I think you hit
to the middle linebacker.
To the middle linebacker, and you stonewall him and keep him out of the play there. It feels like there could be a bunch of them there.
Yeah, that game in general, I had a bunch of my favorite ones this season so far. But yeah, definitely that was a combination. Our tight end coach harped on us the whole week. We have to be good on trade blocks. And it came up in the biggest moment of the game, and me and Braden did a great job on it. Washed the D-tackle D-end out the way, and then we got to the backer, and then Tyler kicked out his man, and it was just JT one-on-one with the safety. So
I think something that I noticed when I was just going back and I was looking at what I pulled up on Pro Football Focus was all of the run plays that you've blocked on that have generated positive EPA. And it was like 90-something of them, and I was just going through them. But like one of the first ones you had against Miami was a wham block, where you kind of came down on the D tackle who wasn't looking, and you just you made it look so effortless. How have you developed that as a blocker to where you can kind of block, and the D end kind of gets his head around, you block, and you block him and immediately throw your hand up like, yep, first down on that play. But how have you developed as a blocker to make it look like it is? I don't want to say effortless, because obviously there's a ton of effort that goes into it, but just to maybe look natural.
I would say the biggest thing with blocking is just the repetitions and just getting a lot of repetitions. I think early in my career, I knew I could do it, but I didn't trust myself as much because I hadn't had as much experience doing it. Because, Jack was getting the majority of the reps. But when you get more and more reps of doing those things, and then we've been in the system for 3 years now, so we're running a lot of the same schemes, just in different variety. You definitely get super comfortable running it, and then when you've done a good job and how the defense is going to react and different things like that. So when JT's going to get through and different things like that. So I would definitely say getting that experience, and also the coaches putting the trust in you to do those certain plays, because everybody doesn't get to do those plays. So you have their trust, and you just got to go out there and execute it and believe in yourself that you can do it. And I think that all translates over.
That's interesting that you mentioned you didn't do it kind of early in your career, because obviously everyone knows your backstory.
Yeah.
Playing college basketball, but even if you were playing college football, you might not have been asked to run block a whole lot, even as a tight end.
Yeah, for sure.
That's like something James Franklin told me when I had him on the podcast in the spring. We're talking about Tyler Warren, and he was like, the thing that differentiates Tyler from most rookies is that he's blocked. He's done the inline stuff. We've asked him to do it. As you kind of grew as a run blocker, when you watched Jack, you kind of worked with Coach Manning, obviously that in your rookie year. Did you feel like, when did you feel like you had got enough experience to where you could start really growing and building upon it?
Shoot, it really wasn't until what year did we have Trey and Jack? Was
2020.
That 2020?
Yeah.
2020, because Jack was a little banged up. Trey got hurt. There were a couple games I had to start, and I got more and more reps. I remember, I think Minnesota was my first start. And then I came to the sideline. I was like, dang, I don't know how Jack does this every game. Like, we're playing a million plays, but like that year really helped my experience because I was playing a lot more offensive plays and things like getting to block a lot more because they were banged up. So that's when I really like realized it. And I also met like some of the personnel guys told me like, dang, you could be a real good Y in this league and things like that. But like, come from basketball, I wasn't really understanding. I'm just like doing it. But then actually when you got that full understanding of what a true Y can do and different things like that, I think my confidence took up to another level.
I used to cover the Bears, so I remember that touchdown you had in 2020 week 4.
I think that was the only touchdown of the game.
The only touchdown of that game that the
No
Bears,
fans
no fans,
Yep.
Dead silent. Phillip Rivers talking smack to Roquan Smith across the line of scrimmage. Something that Ryan Kelly once told me about like tight end blocking is he's like, as an offensive lineman, all we want is for our tight ends to like die a slow death, was the line that he used.
Yeah.
And it was in reference to, I think it was like a block that Drew threw on Jeffrey Simmons in a game in like 2023, where it's like, when you're blocking a guy like that, it's just like, hey, just do enough to make sure the running back can get through. What have you learned about like what offensive linemen maybe appreciate about your game and about like run blocking as a tight end?
I mean, it's just like they see in the meeting room, coach goes back on the film and like they'll show one of our good blocks. Q will be one of the first person like, yeah, Mo, yeah, Tree, or something like that. So they definitely do a good job of hyping us up when we do get our blocks. And just in general, you just want to get your block. So you don't want to be that weak link on the line and that guy who they're pointing out isn't getting their block. So even like some of the young guys, I'm like, even if you don't completely dominate the block, just win it for 2-3 seconds. That's enough time for the running back to get through. And it's not always going to be pretty with us because, I mean, we don't just solely focus on blocking in practice and different things. Like the linemen, they only focus on blocking, pass block, run block. But we have to go run routes and do a bunch of other things. So just like as long as our coach always says this, it doesn't have to be pretty, but just get the job done. And we just try to echo that. And sometimes it's just dominant. Sometimes it might not be. But if JT gets a positive play, hey, it's a positive play.
How has JT's ability to break off those explosive runs, like how has that maybe forced you to really finish through plays, knowing that he could take anything to the house at any moment?
Definitely, especially on the front side, you always want to finish the play.
Right.
Things like that. But when you're on the back side, like we always harp on how important it is to finish your block, make sure you cut off your guy and different things like that. And we saw that on, what play was it? The 83-yarder the other day. Like, you saw AP on the backside, cut his guy all the way off. And we always talk about the backside is really what makes runs go because a bunch of guys take the backside off because they're not really involved in a play and their guy might come in and make the tackle. So a good thing we do in our offense in general is just focusing on finishing our backside blocks because with a running back like JT, he's liable to break at any point.
The Cardinals game, the last run JT had, you had a backside block on the safety on that play.
Yeah.
And JT winds up, I think he got tackled. He got the first down, end of the game. But like if that was in a situation where JT broke through there and you needed it.
the safety all the way,
Yeah. But I mean, you still got the block on him.
Yeah.
And you just see, I mean, you're like 15, 20 yards downfield there. I mean, that's got to be a really like cool thing knowing that you've got a guy in JT that can at any moment score from literally anywhere.
For sure. I mean, the way JT runs ball, and it's like it goes to the type of person he is also. Like, you want to block for him. He's such a good guy, so nice to everybody, ultimate teammate. It's like, bro, I'm going to go extra hard so he could kill whoever he's out there on the field with.
I know you've only been here, but I've heard from some other players that, sometimes when you get the superstar, there's almost like a little bubble around him sometimes. JT, it doesn't seem like there's a bubble around him. He's one of the guys.
No bubble at all around JT. JT's definitely one of the guys, super outgoing, talks to everyone, and all our lockers are right by each other.
Right.
So we all talk to each other all the time. And Yeah, he's real down to earth. Like if we do stuff outside the building, he comes and hangs out with us and different things like that. So yeah, definitely not a diva at all.
Do you have a sense though of like how special this season is that JT's putting together?
Oh yeah, definitely. I was here when he almost won Offensive Player of the Year the other year, and I was telling dude, I was like, because some dudes the last couple of years, JT's been kind of banged up. He had the holdout, then he was hurt, had his thumb, ankle, and different things like that. And they were like, dang, he's killing. I was like, man, this is just like seems like 2020 all over again. But he's getting way more touchdowns. Like he's already at 17, and I'm just like, man, I've seen this before, so it's like it doesn't really surprise me because I've seen what type of caliber player he can be when he's fully healthy. And right now he's fully healthy, and he's just making things go. And as an offense, we're just trying to open those gaps as much as possible for him so he can just do his thing. And if it's not there, JT, he makes things happen regardless.
I know something that Shane has been really intentional about is like giving everyone on this offense a role and like, hey, this is what your role is. Go execute it to the best of your ability. When you've got 11 guys on the field and several others on the sideline who can come in at any moment, who understand their role and are fulfilling it to the best of their ability. Is that why? Maybe is that like a starting point for why this offense has been so good this year?
Yeah, I would say so because every year when we start the season, we go through a roles meeting. The whole team's in there, the coaches are in there, and he lists off everyone's role, group by group, position by position. So he literally lets everyone know what your role is for the season, and I mean, you got to accept it. I mean, if you don't want to accept it, I mean, there's somebody else that's going to want to accept it. So I think that's why guys have no ego because we already know what's expected of us, what they want us to do, and different things like that. And I think that helps us mesh a little bit better. And as things go on, like the coaches, like they're probably not too stressed because they know we understand what our role is, and we're going to go out there and attack that role.
For this team, then, the role that you're in, whether you want to share it or not, to be able to go out and fulfill it. And looking at the tape doesn't lie. You're playing really good football this year, whether it's as a blocker or catching passes or even as a pass protector on some of these plays. To kind of go back to we were talking about the team and how like fulfilling it must be for you to to see the success of this team after being here for so long. For you personally, to be able to be a part of this success, what does it mean to you?
Definitely feels great. Well, he said my role is primarily be the blocker.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm on a bunch of those blocking plays, point of attack and things like that. But in the pass game also, a lot of pass pro and things like that. But he also says when the ball comes your way, make the play and different things like that. And I think done a great job in the run game. I mean, shoot, are we number one in rushing?
The numbers don't lie.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie. But for me, I just take it, like I said earlier, week by week. A lot of people who know me know I don't get too high or too low. So, like, it's kind of rare when I show tons of emotion and things like that. But it's not that I'm not excited. I just like to keep it going.
Does the team need a mix of guys who are like?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we got the guys who are the rah-rah, super up hype and things like that. So you definitely need a mix of guys like that and even keel because I think it gives it a good balance and things like that.
What is something about Daniel Jones that you think might surprise some people who maybe don't know him, who maybe aren't around him as much as you are?
Dude, I really...
So let me give you an example. The thing that when I asked Alec this question, he was like, he will always grab a lacrosse stick and try to like shoot a lacrosse ball.
A lacrosse stick? I haven't seen a lacrosse stick anywhere. But they hang out a lot, so AP will know. I would say, let me see. Well, I think everyone knows about his work ethic. But,
well, maybe within that work ethic, though, like.
Oh, like D. Jones even in here on Tuesday in the weight room.
In the weight room, okay.
Yeah, he's always in the weight room. Pre-practice, post-practice. Every time I go in the weight room, he's in there. Every Tuesday I come in, I get my cardio in. He's in there getting work done every day. So I would say just how his dedication is like second to none, I would say. Because I go in there a lot, and he's always in there doing something to make sure he's at his best for Sunday and available for the team. So I would say definitely that's one thing a lot of people might not know about him.
That's interesting because, when we hear about his work ethic, it's like I picture him just constantly in the meeting room, dissecting film, at team dinners, watching film on his phone, But, the weight room, that's interesting with the weight room. because you got to be able to sustain
the long
getting
season,
the 17 games
as
getting
a quarterback.
hit,
I mean, some games you get hit a lot more than others. And he's good with his legs, so he's scrambling a lot. I mean, I think everyone probably saw the bloody picture after that Atlanta game, but he's as tough as they come.
Were you in that huddle?
I was not in the huddle. I think that was a 2-minute drive.
Yeah.
As we were running on the field for field goal. I'm trying to dap him. I shake his hand, and all I see is a straight bloody mouth. I'm like, the heck is going on?
I mean, when you see something like that, you see that picture going around, or you kind of see that like competitive drive in him. Mm-hmm. For that to be coming from your starting quarterback, what does that maybe do for the rest of this offense?
It just ignites a fire under everybody because that's somebody you want to go to war for. I mean, that happened. He sprinted back out there next play, ran the next play, didn't call for a sub or anything like that. And I think that's the kind of fight that everybody in the team wants to see from your quarterback, and that's a guy that everybody's going to follow.
I'm curious, because you played with Phil, how they're obviously not completely similar. They're two different people, different quarterbacks. But in terms of getting you guys in the right play, how similar is he to Phil?
Very similar. For sure. Philip was always making checks at the line. Daniel's always he's always getting us in the right look all the time and different things like that. They differ in the way they talk because Phil's a big trash talker. But as far as the X's and O's and things like that, they're extremely similar.
What's your favorite Philip Rivers trash talking moment?
Oh, man. There's a couple. But
mine is that one we were just talking about with Roquan
Smith. That Chicago one is probably my favorite just because JT did turn the corner on him. But yeah, Philip and D. Leonard used to go at it a lot in practice. Don't remember all the words being said, but definitely their banter was also great.
Couple dadgummits in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Does Shane sound like Phil at all sometimes?
See, I didn't think so at first, but then the mic'd ups pop up.
Yeah.
Then when I see the mic'd ups, it reminds me of Philip for sure.
For you, I want to get you out of here on this. When you've been in the league now for 7-8 years, 7 years on the 53, 8 years since joining the Colts. You're 32. Tight ends who are of your skill set can play until they're. Look at Mercedes Lewis.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about I could keep doing this for a really long time, or do you have to just kind of stay so in the moment and not ever think about maybe the big picture of your career?
Coaches and people always tell me I could play for 12 plus 15 years. Me, I just try to take it year by year just because, the way this league goes, anything's possible, injuries, different things like that. So I just try to focus in the moment. Of course, it's in the back of your mind when you hear it and things like that. You think about it. But I'm literally a day-by-day guy, season-by-season guy, and just try to be the best I can in the possible moment and then let the rest take care of itself. So
was learning from Jack kind of the best lesson of all of that?
Yeah, definitely. I would say so.
Yeah. All right. Shout out to Jack Doyle, host of the
JD.
Jack Doyle podcast.
Yes, sir.
Media guy. All right. For Mo Alie-Cox, appreciate you joining me here on the podcast, man. This was a lot of fun.
Yes, sir. No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right. Back here on the Colts Show. Thanks to tight end Mo Alie-Cox for joining me here on the show. We are presented by Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC. Greatness in the NFL is built on preparation and quick decisions. That's why the Indianapolis Colts trust Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PCs, bringing real-time AI insights to the sideline so coaches and players can make smarter, faster decisions when it matters most. From the field to the front office, Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC is transforming how the Indianapolis Colts win. Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC, where every day is game day. I had a question for the mailbag kind of in the hopper, but it sort of got blown up by what happened on Sunday. So it doesn't carry a ton of relevance anymore. So no mailbag this week. Still get your questions in at Colts.com/mailbag. You can send them to me on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram. You can drop them in the comments of this episode as well. I am going to do a mailbag on Colts.com this week. That's going to come out on Friday with your questions after Thanksgiving. So get those in. Try to bring the mailbag back here on the podcast next week. We'll see what we're talking about next week. I think the Colts have a really good chance to come back home, take care of business. Colts haven't played at home in over a month. Can't wait to get back in front of the crowd at Lucas Oil Stadium, get on the mic, get these fans who, I give Kansas City credit. They've got really good fans. Colts fans are awesome. The advantage we have at Lucas Oil Stadium because the way that you guys take care of business with making noise and knowing when to make noise and how to make noise, it's legit. Going around the league, it is legitimate how good of an atmosphere we have at Lucas Oil Stadium. So bring that energy on Sunday. If you're going to the game, work off those Thanksgiving calories by screaming at the top of your lungs a little bit. It's gonna be a fun one. We got to show CJ Stroud how strong of a crowd we are, right? So let's bring it on Sunday. I can't wait again to get behind the mic for this game, hit a couple big third downs, and hopefully a week from today on the pod, we're talking about a big Colts win over the Houston Texans that'll bump those playoff odds right back up over 90%. That's going to do it for this episode of the Colts Show, presented by Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC. Talk to you next week here on the pod. So long.